Welcome back to the Japan FinTech Observer. Get ready for a quick hit of the latest news in Japanese finance and fintech. We're diving into the headlines, breaking down the trends, and leaving you with the insights you need to stay ahead of the curve. Let's go!
A Tokyo Electric Power subsidiary is tapping into Bitcoin mining, banking that it can prevent renewable energy from being wasted and prompting its widespread use. Agile Energy X, based in Tokyo, is experimenting with drawing on renewables to mine bitcoins. The idea for the project was born in 2018, when issues were being raised about the large-scale output control that was put into practice by Kyushu Electric Power. The supply of power should always be balanced with demand, because an imbalance could disturb the power frequency and thereby prompt a large-scale blackout. Kyushu Electric therefore requested renewable energy producers in its service area to control their output or temporarily stop generating power to preempt power oversupply, typically when photovoltaic power generation peaked in the daytime. That means that what precious power generation capacity there was had to be wasted. At TEPCO, a new in-house project for fleshing out the Bitcoin mining idea was proposed and extensive demonstration tests conducted. Then, Agile Energy X was founded in 2022 as a wholly owned subsidiary of TEPCO Power Grid, in hopes that it would allow the know-how to be shared with other power utilities. Agile Energy X has installed mining machines in Gunma and Tochigi prefectures, including next to a solar farm. The company is currently experimenting with operating the mining machines to mine bitcoins in circumstances where power is likely to be generated in excess of demand and therefore be wasted. The practice of output restrictions, which Kyushu Electric was the first to implement, has so far spread to 9 regional utilities of Japan, except TEPCO. A total of 1,920 gigawatt-hours of power was subject to output control across Japan in 2023, an equivalent of the annual power consumption of 450,000 households. The government has set the goal of achieving carbon neutrality, or net zero greenhouse gas emissions, by 2050, with green energy assumed to account for 50 to 60% of Japan's total power supply. Photovoltaic power, however, is not generated during the night. The output of wind power varies significantly with the weather. Wasted power is expected to only increase with a further growth in renewables. Agile Energy X's simulations, based on open data, showed that 240,000 gigawatt-hours of power would be wasted if green energy were to be introduced to account for 50% of the total power supply. That surplus power would be too enormous to be stored realistically in storage batteries. The simulations also showed that using 10% of that power would allow 360 billion yen worth of bitcoins to be mined every year, company officials said. If Bitcoin mining were to produce profits that could be fed into corporate earnings, it would stabilize corporate management, prompting more green energy to be introduced. A growing number of businesses in the US state of Texas are mining bitcoins by using power from renewable energy sources that cannot be transmitted to where there is demand and would otherwise have not been utilized. That has led the United States to rise to the world leader status in terms of the bitcoins mined. As things now stand, too little power is subject to output control in Japan to warrant profitability of bitcoin mining with surplus power. Similar practices, however, are expected to become profitable as more green energy is introduced and more surplus power becomes available.